channel. My name is Lizzie. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I wash and dry dogs for grooming. A couple of things before we get started. I'm just going to go over the equipment we're going to be using today. First up, I do just want to say that the bathing and the drying is kind of underrated, I feel. It's super duper important when you are going to groom a dog to do a really good job on your bath. As I mentioned in my previous video, the more dirt and grime you can get off of the dog, the better the rest of your equipment, your clippers and your scissors will run through that hair, and the nicer your finish will be. I really don't care for kennel drying. The texture of the hair when you use a kennel dryer, it kind of acts like a diffuser attachment, like on a human blow dryer, and it dries the hair a little bit curly and kind of limp, and it doesn't make for a nice finish. When you use these, blast dryers with the nozzle, you break apart mats, and you also dry the hair nice and straight and fluffy, so your clippers run through nice and even, and everything looks good. So, and a couple of safety tips. When you're using your shampoos, these are two of my favorites. These are both diluted already. I've already diluted them. This one dilutes 15:1. This one dilutes 32:1. So you always want to make sure you're following the manufacturer's instructions when you're diluting your shampoos. We'll be using this one on the body of the dog today, already diluted, as I said. And I will be using this on the dog's face, undiluted. It's already, it's full strength. And the reason that I use full strength on their faces is just because that's the dirtiest part of the animal for the most part, besides the booty, of course. That's where all the food gets stuck, they're drinking, it's dirty, their ears are always greasy. So I use this full strength so that I can get all of the gunk off of their faces. Because that's kind of your showstopper. You really want your face. That's what the owners are looking at. It's what everybody's looking at. So you want to do a real nice job on your face. You want to have a nice squeezy bottle. You can really use any bottle. I think I got this at Sally Beauty. You can just pick it up on Amazon though. For the drying part, you'll need a couple of towels, obviously. And we'll be using our flying pig dryer with our flat nozzle attachment. And we'll be using a couple combs, and we'll be using a slicker today. So if you'd like to follow along, these are the tools you'll need. And for the majority of my small dogs, I'll be washing a big dog today, but for the majority of the time I'm doing small dogs, like Shih Tzus, Westies, that kind of thing, I use this. It's a flea comb, but it's just I don't use it for fleas. I use this on just about every dog to clean out the corners of the eyes in the bath, because the more that eye gunk you can get out in the bath, the better the better it'll come out when you're clipping your eyes, clipping the corners of your eye out. So the more gunk you can get out of the eyes in the bath, the better you're gonna be. And plus that stuff that gooey eye stuff does not dry very well. So the more you can get off, the better. All right, and I think that is all I had to say. Oh, and when you are using your shampoos, of course, always want to avoid getting shampoo in the eyes and the ears. My shampoos, I love Green Groom so much. Been using this for years. I have never, not a single time have I ever, sometimes you do get shampoo in the eye, but I have never had any issues with squinting, with blinking, with redness. I've never had any issues using this shampoo, and if I do get it near the eyes, but I try not to, obviously. But a lot of the times they don't like the bath, and they're moving around on you. So, sometimes it does get in there, but just rinse really well, and you shouldn't have any issues. And that's it, so let's dive right in. Alrighty, everyone. This is Arlo, and he's gonna be our bath and dry model for today. Okay, So we will start, I've already warmed up this water. We're gonna start by thoroughly saturating the pet. Now, if you're washing a brand new dog for the first time, I usually recommend starting by spraying away from the dog and then slowly moving the stream of water up onto the dog's body. You don't want to just take a brand new dog and just point it right at his face and start spraying. So I start down here by the foot, and then I work my way forward up towards the head, and I always do the head last because they don't really care for that part. So thoroughly saturate. And try to avoid getting in the ears, although it just happens. Just try to do it, quickly and gently. That's all you can really do. Okay. So we're thoroughly saturated. So I'm going to start with this. I always I start with the face with my shampoo. Oh, he wants to jump up. Here, bud. I start with the face because it's the dirtiest part, and as I mentioned, I use it full strength because I like to let it sit on the face for a second while I'm doing the rest of the body, so it really has a chance to do its thing. So for a dog this size, I'm going to use about this amount. Rub my hands together. Come here. Scrub, scrub, scrub. His ears are not super greasy, but if it's like a Shih Tzu or something else with really gooky ears, I spend a lot of time rubbing the shampoo near the ears. I know a lot of people don't do it that way, just because you do risk getting some shampoo in the ears, but you really, really want those ears clean. That is just my opinion, and that's how I do it. So scrub, scrub, scrub. So I let that sit. Then I'm going to take my diluted shampoo. This is, This is a Midnight White by Double K. I've been using this for years. Obviously he's a white dog, so it works really well on him. This is diluted already. So we're just going to start squirting it right on him. And I like to put quite a bit in the pants and around the booty, because those are usually your dirtiest areas. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Come here, buddy. Come here. And I spend, not necessarily on this kind of dog, but on dogs where I'm going to be, clipping the hair on the feet. I squirt a bunch right on the feet. Really like to get it good. Right in the bottoms too. I like to give those feet a good scrub. Dirty, dirty feet. Dirty, dirty feet. Come on over. So, scrub, scrub, scrub. Fully saturate the pet with the shampoo. I hope this is all in frame. So I really work it in. Really work it in. He gets a bath quite often, so he doesn't need a ton of scrubbing. But if they do, sometimes they'll even be so dirty that you'll want to just do half a bottle of shampoo and then rinse it off him as your little pre-wash, and then come back and really do a second go. Because sometimes they're just really dirty, and like I keep saying, the more dirt you can get off, the faster the dog will dry and the better your equipment will run. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Really get that booty good. You can wear gloves if you don't want to touch their booty. I've just been doing this too long, it doesn't bother me anymore. Okay, back up, buddy.
Good boy.
All right. Yay! Squeaky clean. All right, that's all there is to that part. And now we're just gonna start rinsing until that water runs clear. And they usually shake all over you. I try to do a bit of, less of a stream when I'm doing their faces, and I try to keep it away from their ears. But as you can see, they're always moving all around, so just try to get it done quickly and gently. He's a pretty good boy. And while this is spraying, this hand is feeling for suds. So you're always, feeling and moving and. And if a dog has a flip-up tail like this Samoyed here, you want to make sure you get this spot really well because shampoo will hide there. And for any dog, shampoo will also hide under your loop. So around the neck and around the booty are going to be places where shampoo hides. You don't want to, get a dog all dry with the towel, get him in on the table for blow drying and find out that you've got suds all over your neck. So, or all over the dog's neck rather, because you'll have to drag them all the way back in here and rinse them again. And I'll probably speed this video up at this point, just to make it go a little faster. Oh, and a reminder, with your little flea comb here, if you're working with a dog that has eye gooeys, it's at this point you'd want to take your flea comb, just hold him gently, and scoop out the goo. Scoop. He doesn't have any goo, but a lot of, any smushy face dog, any Maltese, any poodle mix, they're all going to have gooeys. So you just scoop and scoop. I like to do it at this point because the dog has been wet for a few minutes, and usually the gooeys have had enough time to soak through, and then they're easier to pull out. You gotta be real careful because some of those gooeys are straight up stuck to the skin. They've been there for 6 weeks, and if you just pull too hard, you'll just pull their skin right off with it. So just gotta be super careful and pay attention to each dog individually. All right, I don't feel any more suds, so it's time to dry. Always have your towels ready to go. Start by toweling them off. Towel them off real good. Yeah, real good. Towel them off real good. Some dogs, just as a precaution, some dogs actually don't really care to be towel dried. If you just haul off on a dog's face and start rubbing on them, sometimes they'll just won't appreciate it. So that's very few though, but just be careful because some dogs don't appreciate it. Arlo doesn't mind. Yeah, he doesn't mind. Yeah, he doesn't mind. All right, let's go to the table and we'll start blow drying. Good boy. Good job. Here we go. Okay, so we're up on our table. We've got our dryer here. we're going to use the flat nozzle. So I generally start all the way on low, and I'll put it on low heat and low blast to start with. And if he's moving around a little bit like he is now, we can put a second clip on him just to keep him standing still for us. It's pretty good though. So, as I said, we're on low blast, low heat, and when I turn it on, just the same as the water, I don't point it right at his face and then turn the dryer on, because they don't like that. I generally turn it on, and I start, pointing down here, and then I move it, and then I move it right up the foot, and then I start back here. They're usually more tolerant, when you start back here, and they get used to the noise at that point, and they get used to the blower, and then you can slowly work to your face last. So I go from toes to nose when I'm doing my blow drying. So when you turn it on, you move it up, and for this kind of coat, you're gonna get, pretty close to the hair, and you're just gonna make circles over the whole body until he's dry. And we'll turn this on so he doesn't get too bored. So we'll point it down here, move it right up. You want to get right in there so you can break apart tangles and so you can dislodge any loose hair. And now once they get comfortable with the noise of the dryer, you can turn up the speed of the blast, which I'll do right now. I just wanted to point out, I'm just going to turn, he's pretty damp still, but I just wanted to show you when I turn the dryer back on, I want you to see all the little white bits blasting out of his coat. That's all just dead undercoat that we're getting out here. That's like the purpose of the dryer. And if he's got a lot of undercoat coming out, you can also take your slicker brush and run it through the coat as you're going along. So I just want you to see the hair blasting out of him. Another thing you do want to be careful of, if their hair is, pretty long, and his hair is pretty long, but he doesn't have the type of hair that, really tangles up as you're drying. But if you're doing like an Old English sheepdog or like a Wheaton, and their hair is over an inch long, you do want to kind of be careful about putting the nozzle too close, because then you can actually like tie the hair up and make your own knots. Instead of blasting them apart. So if you have a coat like that, you just want to hold the blower, like 6 inches away. But the majority of dogs, you're going to have your nozzle right in here, in circles. But just be careful if you're too close and you start to see that you're tangling up your hair, just pull the nozzle right back. we'll brush those out. Now as you'll see, I'm gonna take my slicker brush and I'm gonna use it in conjunction with the dryer right up next to it, and we'll get all the hair out of him. So I'm just going to speed up this video and continue to dry him until we're ready to get to his face. Now as you can see, he's grabbing my hand with his mouth and, you know, gnawing on me. He's only 10 months old, he's a puppy, but you're gonna come across this a lot. You know, they don't just stand there peacefully for this stuff usually. See, he's even chewing it out. Thank you. He's a pretty good boy, but he's just a puppy, and this is grooming, man. This is what you deal with. So then once you're it's not all just, you know, laying on the floor with puppies. So once you get the body dry, I usually stop drying him once I get to his neck. Not just him, all dogs. I stop when I get to the neck, and then I turn the dryer all the way down. And I also pop my nozzle off. As I mentioned in my equipment video, hair in my mouth. This is what it's like, guys. So you take your nozzle off, and then you'll turn your dryer back on, and then you'll do the face. I do not blast, see, he's just nodding on. I don't dry their necks and their faces on full blast because they're much less likely to flail around. So you'll notice when I turn it on, it's a much lighter blast. And I probably have hair in my mouth through this entire video. That's grooming, guys. All the way down. Nozzle off. You hear how quiet that is? Like, if you hit them in the eye with that, it's not gonna hurt them. Put that right up to the skin. Very gently, just make circles until they're dry. Dry, dry, dry. As dry as you can get them. Because you cannot use clippers on wet hair. It won't go through. So you'll have to stop and start all over again. That is the basic gist of the blow dryer. Now as you can see, I'm like leaning over him and I'm letting him lay down. If you are a groomer in a shop, you're not going to be leaning over dogs. I would recommend, obviously, you do have to make them stand. He's not getting groomed today, so we're just kind of messing around. So I am letting him lay down. But normally you would want to make them stand up, and also you would want to keep your back straight by putting your table up higher. I just have this down nice and low, just because I'm doing a video and I don't want him to slip while I'm in the middle of the video. But because normally I would always keep one hand on the dog, always, always, always. Never walk away from a table with a dog on it, especially if it's up in the air. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. But yeah, so as you can see, it looks like it is snowed in this room. So that's pretty much the gist. And yeah, the only other safety tips I recommend with these dryers, again, if you have your nozzle on, don't get it in their ear, and don't hit them in the eye with the blast of the dryer. This is a nice light dryer that I use for small dogs. And you also want to be careful around the butt, because if they have full anal glands when they arrive, if you hit the outside of the anus with the force of the dryer, you can actually express their anal glands right on your table, and it usually gets all over them, and then you've kind of messed up your whole bath because it gets all over, and obviously it smells, and really the only thing to do, unfortunately, is take them right back to the bath. So just be careful in those pretty obvious areas. Some other sensitive spots on a lot of dogs are their feet. A lot of dogs don't like the dryer on their feet. If that is the case, pop this off. I know if you're a groomer, you're usually under time constraints, but just turn the dryer down as low as you can. All dogs are different. And then some of them don't really care for their face being dried, which is why I take the nozzle off. And another great tool to have, I don't have one yet, I should have gotten one a long time ago, but stand dryers are really great. It's basically this guy, only it's mounted right up on a stand, and it's very gentle, and you can just have that blowing on their face in the background while you're working on the rest of their body. So stand dryers are really great too, but I only do small dogs usually. This is my own dog, but for grooming, I generally only do small dogs. So this works just fine. I don't need a stand dryer. So yeah, that's going to conclude our how to bathe and dry a dog for a grooming tutorial. And thanks so much for watching.
You did good. Are you bored?
Hey.
Yeah, you lay down. Go ahead.
You want to stay up there now?
Go. Good boy. Good job. You did it.
Alright guys, that concludes our how to bathe and dry a dog for grooming video. If you are enjoying my content, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Patreon. Any nice comments, please let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you for watching. For merch and more awesome content, go to upstatesoapworks.com.